Okay, so here's the calf blue tomato, and it's an interesting tomato. What I noticed about this tomato plant is it's very vigorous growing. It grew very nicely up until it really started getting washed out by the rain, and then the blight was killed off most of it. It's a very unfortunate thing because it was really bumping, and then it downpoured and rained, and like the last bunch of videos I did, I say the same thing, and it just kind of slowed down and fouled out. Maybe I could top this plant and bring up some new shoots and get rid of some of this blight and maybe get a real good harvest out of it. But it's a pretty good producer, and it's generally, I believe this is an indeterminate tomato. It's a regular leaf tomato. Has a lot of deep purpling in it. The stem and the leaves, it's very similar to the Cosmic Eclipse, but not as intense with the purpling. And what else about this thing? And it's a I call them light bulb tomatoes because that's really what they look like, but a lot of people call them cherry pear tomatoes. That's really the official name for it. So this is really a cherry pear tomato, very similar to the yellow cherry tomato, cherry pear tomato. And I've done plenty of videos about that. But as you can see, here's some of them back here, and I'm going to pick those. I've got a couple getting ready here, and surprisingly, so they're a little bit different than your standard cherry pear tomato, and the reason why I say that is they're definitely not like the yellow ones or even the red ones, which are light bulb tomatoes. They look just like a light bulb when you hold them like that. These tend to be a little bit, they have like this neck on it like a gourd, this particular variety of tomato. That was one of the reasons why I bought it, because I seen pictures of it, and I was very infatuated with the look of it. Now, it also has a lot of copper toning in it. It has deep dark shoulders on the very top, and a little bit of translucentness to it, and you can almost see the inside of it like it's an embryo. Okay, so it's very different from the other tomatoes. The other ones generally don't do that. In fact, I have some the yellow ones here, but they're not ready yet. But here's like a look at some of the green ones, and you can see they're all shaped like that water bottle shape, or they're shaped really different in a lot of ways to the regular pear tomato. So it is a different type of variety. It's definitely not the red pear tomato or the yellow pear tomato or red version of it. It's nothing like that. This is definitely its own variety. You can tell by the plant structure, the color of it, the way it grew, the way it's resisting blight, all kinds of stuff makes this plant very different. So let's pick one of these. A couple of them fell already. Here's a few more. Very gorgeous looking tomato. It's not quite the red pear tomato. The red pear is very uniform. It looks like a teardrop, and it's very uniform in shape. This one's got these long neck on it, so just want to make that note of it. So we'll pick these, and then we'll see you at the bench. Okay, so this is the tomato review side of the video for the blue calf tomato. It's an indeterminate tomato. It's a regular leaf tomato, and obviously you can see it's a cherry tomato. It's a Solanum lycopersicum as far as I know, but the correct information will be in the description. I just got to look it up. The tomato was a pretty good growing tomato, but it really wasn't a heavy producer this year, and I'm not 100% sure why it wasn't a heavy producer. Probably because of the intense rain we've been getting, and the blights really wiped out the tomatoes. So unfortunately, because of that reason, I can't really honestly justify the review because it didn't grow to its full potential. Even though I gave it my best try and spent a lot of money on soil to make it, I'm still getting the aftermath of what the rain and the weather has been doing. So we'll go with it this year. I'm going to grow this one again next year. We're going to try to visit it again. Maybe I can get this particular variety to become self-seeding, and it'll come up on its own. That way I don't have to worry about starting it from seed. So we might be able to go to that route. So let me show you what the inside of the tomato looks like. Now I cut it sideways on this one. That's what it looks like on the inside. And this is what the tomato looks like. All right, it's got a nice gourd shape look to it. It's really weird. The tops, what I've noticed with this particular variety of tomato is the bottom bulb tends to be not perfectly uniform and round like the yellow cherry pear tomato. It's kind of awkward shaped. It's kind of shaped like a gourd almost. If you look at it really close, you can kind of see that the bottom bulb is not really uniform. It's kind of awkward shaped. You can see the neck on it. It kind of hooks a little bit, which is not that common in these cherry tomatoes, these type of light bulb cherry tomatoes. So there are some features to this tomato that I see that on these tomatoes that I don't normally see on the other tomatoes. Yes, you will get tomatoes on the yellow pear tomato that do that kind of a thing, but it's not common. On this tomato, I'm noticing it on every single tomato, so it's a very common characteristic of the tomato. It's not uniform, and the shape is kind of just, you know, really bobbly and weird shaped. It's just kind of a really cool tomato. So let's do a bricks on it. All right, so the bricks is saying it's just about 8, or it's 8. I can't see the demarcation line very well. So it's going to be a pretty good sweet tomato. Now, with cherry tomatoes, your sweetness is generally going to be higher with cherry tomatoes, so you got to kind of expect that a little bit. With larger beefsteak tomatoes, they're going to be more watery, and the content's going to be more spread out, and the sugars are going to be more spread out through the tomato. So let's pick this one and give it a taste test. Well, I'll tell you right now, skins are very tough on it. I'll try eating a whole tomato by itself the way it is, but right now the skins are a little bit on the tough side. Well, what I could say is the texture of the inside of the tomato is kind of, it's chewy like a gummy bear or a fruit roll-up. It's got a weird kind of juicy, chewy texture. It's a very nice effect in your mouth. I really like that effect. It's not a chalky type of tomato, and a lot of times you eat tomatoes, they're kind of chalky and mushy. I don't like tomatoes when they get like that. I don't like those type of tomatoes. But this one's got that nice chewy flavor, that chewy texture to it. Now the sweetness, I'm going to say the sweetness on a percentage-wise, according with the bricks, I'll probably say that sweetness was probably somewhere around 35 on the sweetness. And I'm going to say that the tangy part was very close to the same thing, so it's a pretty well-balanced tomato. And that tomato aftertaste that comes in your mouth, it's there. And so when you eat it, you're going to want to pick another one. So it's a good snacking tomato. I'm really liking this tomato a lot. I am definitely going to give this tomato another shot next year. And we're going to try to see if we can get it to grow correctly without all the rain. Hopefully, I may even have to build a polytunnel just to grow my tomatoes, because I can't grow them any other way. The diseases and everything else is just, it's incredible. I have to control the environment. At least up here. Hopefully the house will sell, and when the house finally does sell, I'll buy a new piece of land, and I'll be able to build a very large polytunnel, probably a 40 by 200 or something like that, and I can grow a whole thing inside of a polytunnel. That would be a great way to grow. But as of right now, with the way things are now, I may not even start tomatoes next year because I'm selling the house. So we don't know where we stand at this point. We'll have to see. But again, this is a great tomato. Here's another look at some of the shapes that you're going to see on it. Very long neck on this tomato. Very long bottleneck, gourd shaped type tomato. Really infatuated with it. Definitely want to explore this one a little bit more. So, yeah, it's a great tomato. Give it a try. I mean, it's something different other than your other light bulb red pear tomatoes. I mean, this is a different variety. You can go with this one. Alright, so I will offer seeds on my website at the end of the year. And that's it. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.